What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the PGA DFS model breakdown. I'm coming off of one of my better weeks that I've ever had in PGA DFS, won a few single entry tournaments. Had a great week at 66 through the cut. All 6 of those golfers were written up in my core plays article. I only ended up writing up 7 golfers last week, and obviously the 6 that made my main lineup ended up being great. Shout out to Sam Stevens, Hayden Springer. They really carried my lineup at low ownership. Sam Stevens, we also had a bet on him at 100-1. Talked about that last week. Ended up finishing solo second, so really close to a long shot winner. The bets have been real close. I think we're going to get a winner here soon, hopefully this week at Pebble Beach. And yeah, if you want to access the Core Plays article, sign up for RG Premium. You also get access to this model. You can download it. You can customize the ratings that you see at the top of the model. And you can create your own rankings, which I think is kind of cool. Your own ratings. You can use those ratings to build lineups. So it kind of gives you a say in the projections, which I think is kind of cool. If you think the course is going to play a certain way, you can tailor fit the model to how you think the week's going to play out. Now, this week we're here to talk about the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So this event has changed formats a little bit over the last couple of years. 2 years ago and before that, it was a 3-course rotation with the full field. We'd have a cut after 54 holes. Now, since it was a signature event starting last year, there's only 80 golfers in the field, and it's now a 2-course rotation. So we have Spyglass Hill, and then we have Pebble Beach. There's no cut, but golfers will play each of the first 2 courses over the first 2 days, and then over the final 2 days, there won't be any amateurs. So it's just going to be the pros over the last 2 days, and those rounds will take place at Pebble Beach. So you're going to get 3 of the 4 rounds at Pebble Beach, which is one of my favorite courses to watch on TV. Doesn't look like there's going to be any wind in the forecast, so it should be pretty easy scoring week. Now, the course could play pretty firm. We saw that last week with Torrey Pines. But, I think it's going to be pretty easy scoring in terms of what we've seen at this course in the past because, it's right on the coast. When we do get wind, it does tend to play a lot more difficult. When we don't get wind, like last year, it was 41st in difficulty. 2022 was 35th in difficulty. So those were kind of years where the wind was down. 2020, when the wind was up, plays the 8th toughest course on the PGA Tour. A lot of wedges at this course. The fairways here are pretty wide, but there are a lot of forced layups. The average driving distance here last year was only 277 yards, which is well below the Tour average. And because the wide fairways and because of the forced layups, a lot of less than driver tee shots. The field was able to hit 69% of the fairways last year. The greens are absolutely tiny, 3,500 square feet on average, the smallest on the PGA Tour. So definitely bump up your strokes gained around the green this week. Also, strokes gained putting on Poa annua, Spyglass, and Pebble Beach both have Poa annua greens. But golfers, even with those small greens, were able to hit them in regulation 72% of the time last year. Now, I'm looking at good iron players, good short game players. Again, you're going to have to drive it well, but it's not a week where you have to have distance or you have to gain a bunch of strokes off the tee. You want to gain strokes around the green, on the green, and with your irons. Looking for guys that play well in California. Looking for guys that play well on short courses. This is a par 72, only less than 7,000 yards, so definitely a short course. Guys that play well in strong fields. This is the first signature event of the year. So let's dive into the model. I have a 6% weight to off the tee, 0% to total driving. I just don't think it's a huge driving week, but I still wanted to include it in the model. So if you want to do, 1% across the board here on all 6 of these categories, certainly wouldn't mind it. It's just not a huge driving week for me. 12% strokes gained approach. Again, I take a look at the yardage buckets that we expect each golfer to hit from, thanks to data golf, and then kind of apply the strokes gain in those buckets to how many approach shots are expected to hit to come up with this expected approach metric. Number 1, I have Scheffler, 2 Lowry, 3 Henley, 4 Hoagie, and 5 Justin Thomas. Now, again, this is based on Pebble Beach specifically. Strokes gained around the green, 6%, much higher than it was last week. Strokes gained putting, 8%. Don't mind bumping this up a little bit. Birdie better, 3%, bogey avoidance, 6%. I might end up taking bogey avoidance down and bumping up putting, but we will see. Course history gets 4%. Hasn't been all that predictive, but there are a handful of golfers that play well here every year. Jason Day, Jordan Spieth. And again, those are guys that good with wedges, good short game. Strokes gained in California over the last 3 years. You have Scheffler, Homa, Cantlay, Morikawa leading the way. Strokes gained on courses with small greens. Scheffler, Morikawa, Cantlay, Hovland. Strokes gained in strong fields. Again, Scheffler, Rory, Hideki, Morikawa. So Morikawa's on the top of all 3 of those lists. Scheffler's obviously number 1 in all 3 of those lists. It's hard to poke any holes in Scheffler other than the fact that he's dealing with a hand injury. He hasn't played in quite a while. We don't know how much he's been practicing, so I'm probably going to be underweight on Scheffler. As always, we have the form and field strength here. So how often they finish in the top 5% of the field they're playing in, top 10%, top 25%. This is just pure strokes gain over short-term, mid-term, long-term, and then the field strength, the quality of field that they are playing in. And yeah, to come up with our overall rankings, we have Scheffler number 1 by quite a ways, followed by Morikawa. Again, I'm going to come in maybe 20% Scheffler and MME, and I'm probably going to be fading him in my single entry lineup. I know it's kind of risky, but again, the layoff, the hand injury, the high ownership, the high price point. For me, I like starting lineups with Morikawa. I can't think of a better fit for him. He's an elite iron player. Over the last 18 months, he's been really good around the green. He's turned into a good putter, especially on Poana. 14-1, I bet him as well. So a good week from Morikawa would certainly be beneficial to me. Hideki's number 3, which is kind of interesting. Rating out a little bit better than Rory McIlroy. No issue with either of them, but no strong takes on either of them either. Ludwig, I thought last week was a perfect course fit for him. He was dealing with an illness, perhaps that kind of hurt him over the final 3 days. He did get off to that big lead on Thursday. And then JT, love JT this week. He's finished 3rd and 2nd recently, finished 6th here last year, great in California, great on courses with small greens. He's a great scrambler. Not a good putter, but he has been good on Poana. So do love JT this week. I think my starting blocks up top are going to be Morikawa and JT. No issue with Cantlay. I mean, he hasn't been great, but coming off a 5th place finish recently and a couple other top 15s. Great track record here. Always plays well in California, so a guy you want to keep an eye on for sure. Tommy Fleetwood not getting a ton of ownership right now, but when you think of his skill set, he's a guy that hits irons well. He's good around the green. He's a good putter. So maybe we should have more interest in Tommy. Sungjae hasn't been great in California throughout his career, but coming off of a 4th place finish in California at Torrey Pines. Didn't play great here last year, but he's been a top 12 machine over the last 6 months. So don't mind getting overweight on Sungjae and Tommy Fleetwood there in the low 9s. I like Burns. I bet him outright at 40-1. Just love that price. Kind of similar to why I bet Wyndham Clark a couple weeks ago. Didn't work out, but I think you're just getting win equity at a good price. So 40-1. He was at Bet365 if you want to check that out. Henley, I like Henley. Good course fit for him. Typically not great in California, but loves small greens, loves short courses, loves strong fields. Good iron player, so I do like him. Adam Scott, one of my favorite plays as well. You can bet him at 75-1. My 3 bets for the week: Morikawa, Burns, Adam Scott. Tagged Adam Scott as a core play as well. So one of my favorite plays on the board. I like Aaron Rye as a value play. I like Denny McCarthy as a value play. I think Tagala is interesting. Again, from California. He kind of let me down a little bit on Sunday last week. I think he dropped 40 spots on the leaderboard. But yeah, I'll play him if he's not going to be owned at 7,700. Moving down, I like Bo Hostler, good track record here. I like Jason Day, even though the model doesn't love him. I'm probably going to boost his projection up a little bit in lineup HQ. Moving down, I like Bazudnow quite a bit. I like Eric Cole quite a bit. Again, Eric Cole on shorter courses, easier courses, sign me up. Eric Cole and Ben Griffin on harder courses, longer courses. I'm fine fully fading. He was one of the worst guys in the field last week that made the cut. So similar to Ben Griffin, he missed the cut last week, but now you hop back on, get him a shorter course, get him an easier course. And yeah, if you want to check out the Drive for Show DFS for Doe with myself and Justin Van Zuiden, we'll break down the entire field. And again, we'd love to have you as RG Premium member. You get access to this, get access to my bets, get access to the core plays, the expert survey, all the projections, all that fun stuff, and showdown stuff. So I do showdown articles for every single showdown slate except for round 1, all included with your RG Premium membership. So thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up button, and we will catch you back here next week.